Have you ever felt a whisper following you? A real story from America that will make you question what you cannot see, and wonder if it is right behind you right now. Do not blink. What happens next will give you chills. The street was silent under the pale glow of the streetlights. Cold autumn air pressed against my skin, carrying the smell of wet leaves. I walked faster, my shoes crunching softly on the scattered foliage. Behind me a whisper rose. It was low, almost like breath, but clear enough to form my name. The sound drifted through the air, faint but undeniable. I stopped and turned. The street stretched empty, lined with dark houses and shuttered windows. No one was there. Only the flicker of a distant lamp swaying in the wind. My heart began to beat harder. The whisper came again, closer, like it was standing just behind my shoulder. The hairs on my arms stood up. I stepped off the sidewalk, my breath forming small clouds in the cold. The houses seemed to lean inward, their windows like watching eyes. Every shadow stretched long and thin across the pavement. I clutched my bag tighter. The whisper was no longer faint. It circled me, a soft, curling voice moving with the wind. I reached a crosswalk at the edge of the neighborhood. The stop sign glistened with rain. Somewhere behind me, the whisper became a slow, drawn-out laugh, still soft but sharp enough to slice through the silence. Froze. The streetlights flickered and dimmed, leaving patches of darkness between them. My chest tightened, and my eyes darted across every doorway and alley. At the corner of my vision, a figure appeared. It was tall, blurred by mist, its shape shifting as if it was made of smoke. No face, no features. Just a moving outline that did not step closer but did not vanish. I stumbled backward. The whisper now echoed from all directions, overlapping words I could not understand. My ears rang with the sound like whispers pressed right against them. I forced myself to run across the street. The figure stayed at the edge of the light, but the voice followed me. It filled the space between my footsteps, a soft sound that matched my every move. My house came into view at the end of the block. Its windows glowed faintly with a warm light. I rushed up the path, my hand trembling as I reached for the door. Just as my fingers touched the handle, the whisper came one last time. It was clear now. It said, "I am already inside." The door creaked open by itself. Warm air spilled out, but no one stood there. I felt the sound brush against my ear again, gentle as a breath. And then everything went still. I stepped into the house, the whisper fading but not gone. The air inside felt heavier than it ever had before. It smelled faintly of rain, though the windows were all closed. I locked the door and pressed my back against it. The lights flickered once, then steadied. My own breathing echoed too loudly in my ears. The living room stretched ahead, familiar but strange. Every shadow seemed deeper. Every piece of furniture looked a little out of place. I took a step forward. The wooden floor creaked under my weight. Somewhere in the distance, a clock ticked slowly. The whisper came again, softer now, like a secret pressed against my skin. It was not coming from behind me anymore. It was coming from the hallway. My heart raced as I moved toward the sound. The hallway looked longer than usual, lined with framed pictures of my childhood. Their glass surfaces reflected distorted shapes of my face as I passed. The whisper began to form words I could almost understand. It said my name, then something about truth and hidden. The voice was neither male nor female, neither young nor old. I stopped at my bedroom door. It was slightly ajar, though I had shut it that morning. A dim glow flickered inside. Pushed it open. The room was empty, but the glow came from the mirror on my dresser. Its surface rippled as if touched by water. I stepped closer, my fingers trembling. The whisper rose from the mirror now, clear and urgent. It told me to see what was always there. The reflection did not show my room. It showed the street outside, but it was empty of houses. Only endless trees swayed under a red sky. My reflection tilted its head when I did not. Its eyes were wide and dark, its lips moving without sound. Then it raised its hand and pointed at me. The whisper grew louder, layered, dozens of voices speaking at once. I stumbled back, knocking over a lamp. Light burst and glass scattered across the floor. Suddenly the image in the mirror shifted. The tall figure from the street stood behind my reflection. It leaned close, its featureless face almost brushing my shoulder. I could feel its presence now, cold and heavy, though the room looked empty. The whisper pressed against my skull, a low vibration crawling behind my ears. It said, "You brought me home." I reached for the mirror to push it away, but my hand sank through the surface like liquid. Cold shot up my arm, numbing my fingers. I tried to pull back, but something held me there. The reflection smiled, a slow, unfamiliar smile that did not belong to me. Its eyes flashed white. The figure behind it placed a hand on its shoulder. The whisper became a single, steady voice. "You were chosen to listen," it said. "You opened the way." The mirror's surface pulsed, drawing me closer. I felt the room fading, my heartbeat echoing louder than the ticking clock. Outside, thunder rolled though the sky was clear. I closed my eyes and thought of my house, my street, the smell of wet leaves. The voice softened. "You can leave," it said, "but you will always hear me." I yanked my hand free and stumbled backward. The mirror cracked down the middle with a sharp sound. The glow flickered out, leaving only my darkened room. My reflection stared back at me from two broken halves. It was my face again, pale and frightened, but normal. The whisper was gone. I sank to the floor, clutching my arm where the cold still lingered. The clock ticked steadily. The air smelled like home again. I turned on every light in the house, checking every corner. Nothing moved. No shadow shifted. Hours passed. Rain began to tap softly against the windows. I sat on the couch, wide-eyed, waiting for the voice to return. Did not. But sometimes in the faintest breeze, I thought I heard my name. Almost like breath. I sat there on the couch until the rain slowed. The glow of dawn began to edge through the curtains. My phone buzzed once, a soft vibration against the coffee table. The screen lit up with a notification I did not recognize. It was a blank message, no sender, no subject. When I opened it, a single line appeared. "You heard me. Now you must see." My hand shook. The room seemed to shift again, walls breathing faintly, colors muted. I blinked hard and it stopped. The whisper had changed my home. Every creak, every shadow, every breeze from the vents felt alive. I had the strange sensation of being watched from inside the walls. I decided to leave. I stuffed a jacket and my keys into a bag and stepped outside. The street was still wet, glistening under the first rays of sun. But something was different. The houses across from mine looked faded, almost transparent. The big oak tree at the end of the street was gone. A low hum vibrated through the air, like power lines singing. It was not a sound but a feeling pressing against my ribs. It pulled me toward the edge of the neighborhood. I walked heart hammering. No cars passed, no birds moved. Even my footsteps sounded muted. At the corner stood an old building I had never seen before. Its windows were dark, its brick walls cracked and damp. A sign above the door read, faintly, "Observatory." The door was open. A cold draft whispered out, carrying the smell of rain and metal. Inside, the air was dim and heavy. A spiral staircase led downward. Faint echoes of my own breath rose from below. The hum grew louder, steady and magnetic. I descended slowly. The stairs ended in a long hall lined with tall mirrors. Each mirror reflected not me but a different version of the street outside. One mirror showed the street at night. Another showed it in flames. Another showed it empty, buried under snow. As I walked past, each reflection tilted its head at me. Their lips moved, whispering silently. I could almost hear the words inside my skull. At the end of the hall was a circular chamber. In its center stood a tall, black column of glass. It pulsed faintly like a heartbeat. The whisper filled the room now, no longer a voice but a chorus. It wrapped around me, filling my ears and chest. "You followed," it said. You opened the way. Now see. The glass column flickered. Images appeared inside. My childhood home, my friends, places I had been. Then strangers' faces, towns I had never seen, skies I did not recognize. I stepped closer. My reflection appeared on the column's surface, but not alone. Behind me stood the tall figure from the street, featureless and silent. It raised its arm and pointed at the mirrors behind me. Every mirror now showed the same scene. Me in this chamber, the figure at my back. The whisper sharpened into a single tone. You are not the first, it said. You are the one who listens. The air thickened. The walls pulsed softly with light. My breath left white trails in the cold. I turned, but the figure was gone. Only the empty chamber surrounded me. Yet the feeling of its presence remained, pressed like a palm against my spine. The column shifted again. Now it showed a door deep in the woods, half buried under roots and leaves. A trail of light led from my feet into the image. You must finish the path, the whisper said. Then you will know. The image faded, leaving the glass dark. A new doorway had appeared in the far wall of the chamber, wooden and crooked. Cold air blew through it, smelling of pine and wet earth. I stepped through. Suddenly I was no longer in the building but in a forest. Tall trees rose around me, their trunks slick with rain. The ground was soft with moss. Shreds of mist clung to the roots. Somewhere far off, water dripped steadily. I realized I was holding an old lantern, though I had not picked one up. Its light flickered faintly, casting long shadows that shifted when I moved. The whisper had grown faint, but it was still there, leading me forward. I walked until the trees thinned and a clearing opened. In the center of the clearing was the door from the vision, half hidden under vines. It stood upright, freestanding, with no wall to hold it. Symbols were carved into the wood, curling and sharp. They pulsed faintly like veins under skin. My pulse matched their rhythm. The whisper became a low chant now, layered and deep. I placed my hand on the door. It was warm as if alive. When I pushed it open, there was no room beyond, only darkness. Cold air streamed out, carrying a scent like stone and rain. The lantern's light dimmed but did not go out. I stepped through. The ground beneath my feet changed from moss to smooth stone. A cavern stretched before me, lit by faint, shifting lights. In the center stood the figure, taller now, clearer. Its form was human but its edges blurred like smoke. It held something in its hands, a small glass sphere glowing softly. It lifted the sphere toward me. The whisper became a single voice once more, almost gentle. This is what follows, it said. This is what you carry. I reached out. The sphere felt weightless but full, like holding a heartbeat. Inside swirled fragments of faces, places, voices. As soon as I touched it, memories poured into me. Moments I had forgotten. Moments that were not mine. I saw the tall figure standing at the edge of many roads. Always waiting, always watching, always whispering. People passed by, never hearing. But a few turned their heads. The voice spoke again. You are awake now, it said. You can leave, but the path will never forget you. I lowered the sphere. The figure stepped back, dissolving like smoke in wind. The cavern brightened, then folded away like paper. I was standing on my street again. Morning sunlight spilled across the wet pavement. Cars passed. Birds sang. The oak tree was back. I still held the sphere, but when I opened my hand it was gone. Only a faint cold lingered against my skin. No whisper filled my ears. But in the distance, at the edge of my vision, the tall figure stood once more. It raised its hand in a slow, silent gesture. Not warning, not farewell, but recognition. Then it faded into the daylight. I walked back to my house, my heart still racing. The door was just as I had left it. Inside everything looked normal. Yet I knew it was not. Every sound, every flicker of light, every shadow now felt like a language. I could hear threads of whispers in the quiet, too soft for anyone else. It was not fear anymore. It was knowing. And deep inside me, A single truth settled like stone. Whatever had followed me was no longer behind. It was inside, waiting, whispering, watching. I stood at my front door, hand trembling on the knob. The street outside was bright and ordinary again. Children rode their bikes. A neighbor watered his lawn. Yet everything felt different. The air seemed charged, like a room after a thunderstorm. Every sound felt deeper, layered with hidden echoes. I stepped inside. The familiar creak of the floorboards greeted me. Sunlight spilled across the living room rug. The whisper was gone. No hum, no chorus, no figure in the corner of my vision. Only silence, thick, expectant, almost alive. I moved to the window and looked out. Across the street, the oak tree swayed in a gentle breeze. But in its bark, for the briefest moment, I saw the outline of a door. Blink. The door was gone. Only rough wood and leaves remained. I sat on the couch, heart slowing. The phone buzzed once more, a soft vibration. This time it showed only 2 words. Stay awake. No more visions came. No more whispers filled my ears. Just the faint, steady rhythm of my own breathing. I realized the figure had not vanished. It had simply stepped back into the spaces between things. Watching. Waiting. And yet, instead of fear, a strange calm spread through me. I had followed the path and returned. I had seen what others never see. The house was quiet. The world outside moved on. But somewhere, just beyond sight, the whisper lingered. Not as a threat, but as a reminder. Some doors, once opened, never truly close. Some mysteries are not meant to be solved, only carried. And so I rose, took a deep breath, and stepped forward into the morning light, knowing the whisper would follow but no longer afraid. Please like and subscribe.